is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star.
It's that time for the Players Lounge. I'm Newy Scruggs, longtime Cowboys reporter, joined by two former Dallas Cowboys safeties, Barry Church and Danny McCray. I am here in beautiful Oxnard, California. I had to put on a little light jacket today, just a little shirt because it's cold out here. But it's going to heat up just a little bit, probably get up to 68, maybe 70 of a high today out here in Southern California. Gentlemen, how are we doing back in Texas?
Man, as you can see, I'm back in Dallas, Texas, and I'm sweating a little bit on here. Newy, you had the audacity to say it's going to heat up to about 70. I can't believe you said that, man. While we out here sweating crazy out here, man. This is ridiculous.
Newy, yeah, let me tell you something. I'm jealous, man. For some reason, we decided to go to the zoo this weekend at 11 a.m. in the morning on Sunday. And goodness gracious, we paid for it. We Newy. We was there for about 45 minutes before we found out that that's not the right move. So it is hot as hell out here.
There's barely any shade out there.
Ooh. Bro, the air wasn't moving. It was sticky. The air was thick, bro. I was like, man, this ain't right. My little daughter was drinking all the water. She don't even drink water like that. She was just killing water. I'm like, yeah, it's time to go.
They had a little misters, the little air misters out there.
Bro, the water that was coming out of that was hot. All the animals were asleep. They was in the shade, man. It was too hot.
Oh, man.
Well, even the animals tapped out. October. Okay, there's your zoo tip. All right, take your kid to the zoo in October. That's a good time to go. Weather's nice, animals are out, and it's enjoyable for you. And you can go in the morning time, especially while, because your daughter's not in school yet, while everybody else is in school. So October, nice time. So go ahead and plan it around there. So there's your pro tip. There's your pro parenting tip.
I should have asked
right there.
I should have asked you before I went. Should have asked you.
Mike McCarthy just spoke, and those of you watching us on DallasCowboys.com, you saw it. Malik Hooker, that's a guy that you all have spoken about. You two guys are former safeties, so Malik Hooker is working out right now, according to Mike McCarthy, and he says no roster move has been made yet, so they haven't signed him. But they're interested, and look, I anticipate Hooker being, a member of this team. Now, he's a former first-round pick. Had a couple nice years with the Colts, but injuries have derailed his career. They want as much competition as they can get back there at the safety spot. There are no guaranteed spots right now. I think Donovan Wilson is obviously a guy that Mike McCarthy likes. He spoke about him very favorably in the press conference. But Malik Hooker looks like he's going to get an opportunity to show the Cowboys what he can do. Church, your thoughts?
Well, look, I think it would be a good move. I mean, as far as competition is concerned, it would bring another guy in there who's technically a whole safety. He doesn't really do a lot in the box, but he's a whole safety, something that we haven't had here with the Cowboys in a long time. So it brings competition for KZ back there. And this is a guy, he's been in the league. He's a veteran in the league, so he knows the ins and outs of playing the position. And when healthy, he's a baller. I mean, we've seen it in his rookie year. He had 3 interceptions right off the bat when he was healthy. But that's the question with him. Like you said earlier when you were talking, he's gone through a couple injuries that have derailed his career so far. So bringing him in would be another kind of injury-prone guy. We already had KZ coming off an Achilles. We got Keanu Neal coming off an Achilles. So we're already kind of fielding a battered and bruised defense right now. But I guess as far as competition is concerned, I wouldn't mind seeing him come in there and duke it out with KZ for that whole safety responsibility. But like I said, I mean, this is another injured guy we're technically bringing on. We're thinking about bringing on. So I'm not so sure about it. But as far as competition is concerned, it should be a good one.
Yeah, look, I feel the same. Church and Newy, you know one thing about the Cowboys. We're going to bring in some injured guys, all right? We're going to draft them. We're going to bring them in free agency. Then we're going to try to get them fixed up with my man Britt Brown. And we're going to see how it turns out. Same thing going with Jalen Smith and Sean Lee. So, I mean, you know, if you listen to what guys are saying about how Britt Brown was able to get Dak back and get Jarwin back, then I have some confidence in them being able to do the same thing with Hooker once he gets his hands on him. And as far as competition, this is amazing. I mean, competition brings the best out of everyone, and it also stops some of those players that are already here from getting complacent, man. It pushes them to be the best them that they can be throughout this training camp to try to earn that position. So to me, it's great. I think this is a great start to us, starting that top 10 defense by forcing the competition on these guys and not letting anybody get too comfortable. So I love it.
Can I ask y'all both a question? Do y'all think we have room enough to keep both as like a depth thing, or it has to be one or the other as far as KZ and Hooker is concerned?
Okay. McCray, handle it first.
That's if so. Listen, I think that's tough. Even though you added, the 17th game, I still think that's tough. I think you need to carve out a certain position for whoever earns that spot and let them know that they earned it and it's theirs to move throughout the season. So you don't have that pressure on that guy thinking he's going to get his spot taken and he's not able to play free and loose. So I think they let them battle it out, figure out who's the best at that position, and let them go throughout the season as a starter at that and let the other guy walk. I think that's the best way to do it, and that's the best way to show that, when you fight to compete for a spot and you earn it, that the Cowboys are going to reward you.
I agree with 100% everything you said. We've got preseason games, we've got practices, so let's see what happens. The pads come on tomorrow, and it's showtime. It is showtime. I like the fact that there are no sacred cows around here. Want a job, go out here and perform. J-Ron Curse. If you're J-Ron Curse, you got to sit up here and say, oh, okay, they're bringing out somebody else here from my spot, so I need to sit out here and show what I can do. This defense, and actually this football team, in my opinion, the last 5 to 6 years have had too many guys who just, I've got a spot, there's no competition. I'm sorry. There's no big championship banners being raised around here. People need to go out and earn their positions, and I think this has been a positive move that Mike McCarthy has made as they've gone into this year, especially with the defense as poorly as it performed last year. People need to show that they can do something here.
Are you giving that to Mike McCarthy, or are you giving that to Dan Quinn?
I think it's both.
Here we go. I think it's
both. I think that, look, yes, I've been tough on McCarthy a little bit, just a little bit. That was my first question to Jerry Jones Sunday night in our one-on-one interview on NBC5. I went after McCarthy, but it's something that he's talked about, and obviously Dan Quinn, having spent so much time with Pete Carroll and his whole thing every day, this is good. And I'm sorry. Is there anybody on this defense that we should say, hey, they're a sacred cow and they're just fine? I don't think we can really truly say that. So, you're 6-10 for a reason, and so you make sure you don't go 6-11. You need to make sure that guys are out here knowing that they've got jobs to play for, and I think they've set themselves up in a very good way on all three levels of this defense, where there is competition. You've got guys who've got to play for contracts here. If people are thirsty, you got a bunch of thirsty and hungry dogs out here, then I think they have an opportunity to be a playoff team. I think they must be a playoff team for Mike McCarthy to return next year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right. What they did with there's all three levels. I mean, look what they did with the interior defensive line. They brought those rookies in, and they shipped Antoine Woods out. And then at the second level, at the linebacker position, you got the first-round pick in Parsons. You also brought in Cox. And in the secondary, you got, Kelvin Joseph over there. You got Anthony Brown. You got Jordan Lewis. I mean, Trayvon Diggs out there. I mean, it's loaded in a sense where they're going to have to duke it out to get those starting jobs. I mean, we'll see if those guys can, when they do get the starting job, if they're able to perform as well. But right now, the depth they have there for this competition, I think, like you guys are saying, that it's going to bring the best out of everybody out there, and hopefully we feel the best defense we can going into the season. Because like I said, if we're just the middle of the pack, if everybody stays healthy and we're just the middle of the pack defense, I think we can do big things here in Dallas.
Listen, I got to give my guy a shout out anytime I can, all right? There is one defensive player that is a quote-unquote sacred cow, Newy. Would you like to guess who that is?
Oh, my goodness. Who are you talking about?
My special team ace. Nobody can take his spot. His spot is guaranteed. He's going to be out there being the MVP. Well, hopefully not being the MVP of the defense, but making some plays out there to change the game. So, we got one guy, all right?
You talking about Goodwin?
You dang right. I just wanted y'all to say his name, all right? Say his name. He is the guy, all right? He's a sacred cow. His spot is locked in. He don't have to do anything to make the squad. He is ready to go, and we watched that on film all last season, and I think he's going to be better this season.
Okay, I'll give you that. That's fine. Let's take our first break right here on the Players Lounge on DallasCowboys.com radio. When we come back, the pads come on tomorrow. Two former safeties, Danny McCray, Barry Church, will weigh in on how different pads are versus the underwear Olympics that we've seen so far here at training camp. That continues next on the Players Lounge right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hey Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
It's game day. You know what that means. First, kebab prep. Steak, pepper, onion, steak, pepper, onion. Next, a counterclockwise lap around the room. Now the lucky grease-stained jersey goes on. And lastly, the dance. You know the one. This is a game day ritual no matter where you are. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com and keep the tradition alive and well. Hotels.com, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Here we are, Players Lounge. I'm here in Oxnard, California. Newy Scruggs, former Dallas Cowboys safeties Barry Church and Danny McCray join us. They are back in Texas, but overall it's the second show as we begin marching towards the first game of the year, the Cowboys against Tampa Bay on NBC Sunday Night Football. We've also got the Hall of Fame game coming up August 5th, so your boys are back here talking Cowboys with 3 amigo Negroes doing our thing. We have pads on tomorrow. I'm excited. Pads are on tomorrow. Pads popping. You guys play in this league. So tell the folks who are watching and listening how different it is from the underwear Olympics to when the pads start popping tomorrow in Oxnard.
Man, are you gonna give it to me, Church? Let me tell you something.
Go ahead, D-Man. You got it.
The boys are separated from the men when the pads come on. All that talk that you did, you see guys out there winning the weight room Olympics and lifting and doing all this stuff. All that comes to fruition now when the pads come on. We're gonna really get to see if you have it in you to make those hits and make those same tackles, take those same angles that you had when you didn't have pads on, knowing that it's possible that you might get ran over and you got to explode from those hips to make that tackle. It's a totally different thing. When you rushed against Tyron Smith with pads on, it's going to be a totally different thing. Everything's different. Everything's more intense. And we're going to learn a lot about these players with these pads on. And I just can't wait to hear about it from Newy, man. This is going to be exciting.
Yeah, I think D-Mac, you hit it right on the head when it comes to putting the pads on. It's definitely a different vibe out there. I mean, and you got guys when you're in, like you said, Newy, the underwear Olympics. You got Zeke coming through the hole, and you got this guy feeling it when he has on shorts and everything and just the helmet on. He's going in there headstrong like he's about to blow Zeke up. Wow, I would have lit him up. But when we get the pads going on and Zeke gets that forward lean rolling, is he going to fill that hole with the same ferocity that he had when they were just in shorts? So that part of the game is definitely a big difference. But that first day, when you get those pads on, I mean, it seems like no matter if you're a rookie or if you're in your 8th, 9th, or 10th year, I mean, you're that first day is kind of always that excitement. It's that, oh man, we got pads on, we get to pop a little bit. I can't wait to get out there. But once you're in your veteran years, it's that second, third, and fourth padded practice in a row that you're like, man, take these pads up off me. But that first day, you're always going to be excited about it. You get your little inside run. You get to pop a little bit here and there. But I will say there's always that one guy for each team, that one guy that's just a tone setter that's just like, man, look, we're all going to be brother-in-law today. We're just going to be tagging off when we get in the hole. But there's always that one guy that like just goes OD, that just treats every practice like it's a game scenario. And for when I was there, D-Mac, I don't know if it was the same for you, but it was DeMarco Murray. Like, no matter what happened, no matter what was going on, we could be half walked through with pads on. This guy's lowering his shoulder, lowering the head, trying to run through people. So there's always that one tone setter for each team that he just no matter what, he's going OD with the pads on. But like Danny said, can't wait to get it cracking with these pads tomorrow.
Because I promise, right when you finished, I was about to say, I remember when y'all used to be tearing DeMarco up coming through the hole. I'm talking about lifting him off his feet and all that. So I don't want to hear nothing about him being the tone setter. Y'all was out there trying to embarrass that man, so then he started dropping his shoulder on everybody that he could after y'all done knocked him on his ass a couple times. So it's always some guys, all right. And Church is one of those guys who knew he was a sacred cow, all right. So here we go. After the first or second pad in practice, he was like, look, I already got my spot. I'm good. Get these pads off of me. The difference between him and the guys that are out there now is they spots are on the line. So they need to take advantage of every opportunity that they can to show that they're going to get out there and strike somebody, because it could be their last and they might not be on the roster if they don't.
Zach Martin as well. He was another dude that just was OD when it came to the pads. Like that boy would pull it. He would be pulling guards. We'd be like, all right, we just go get this little thud up here so I can set the edge. Man, there was just a number of times he just ran through me like it was just a train, like I was just a hay bale on a train track or something. Like, that's another guy that OD when it came to pads, man.
All right, so now I want the truth. This is why people tune into the Players Lounge right here on DallasCowboys.com. Tell me, each of you, in Church, you go first. Who was somebody who looked good in the underwear Olympics, but when the pads came on, they weren't that guy. They weren't that guy.
You gonna put me on blast?
I want names. Both of you. You're retired. You're both retired now. I want names.
Man, go ahead, Church.
Oh, man, I'm gonna go ahead and say this because I think y'all would agree with me for the most part. But I think the dude that was like, man, who is, like, this dude came out, man, who is this guy? He's running the rock crazy. He's cutting on dimes. Who is this guy? And I would have to say it would be Joseph Randle. He was a running back for us. You know the guy. He took the underwear back. You know who he is. He was another guy. He when the pads were off and we just in shorts, he was routing people up, cutting people this way and that way. But when the pads came on, it was just a little bit of a drop off. Not major, but just a little bit of a drop off. But since you put me on the spot, that's who I chose as my situation there.
Running back out of Oklahoma State, the guy who said when DeMarco Murray left that he left a lot of meat on the bone. That he left a lot of plays out there.
He was talking a lot. He was talking a lot.
Despite the fact DeMarco won the NFL Offensive Player of the Year award. So, and when he got his opportunity to be the number one guy, it didn't last very long.
Not very long.
And they gave him plenty of shots. All right, he gave plenty of shots. My guy is gonna be 4th round pick coming out of, I forgot what school it was, like Independence University or something like that. My man, Kwasi Owusu.
You ain't going. Okay? Oh, you did a Kwasi like that.
No.
Not my dog. Not my dog. Not my Vegas High dog team.
Listen, not because he wouldn't.
Yeah, he was a part of your fraternity, wasn't he, Newy?
Yeah.
Dog team.
But listen, let me do this. Not from the standpoint of like he was scared to get out there and make the play. It just didn't translate to him actually making as many plays as it looked like he would when we were in shorts and shirts. Like, he was out there looking like a straight monster, fast, can jump, he was quick, taking the right angles and all that when we were in just pads and shorts. And then you see it when he get out there on the field. It was just a little bit different. Sometimes it didn't like he have enough weight behind him to make some of those tackles. And, he kind of floated around a little bit. But that's still my guy. But my honest opinion is that's how I remember it.
That's true. That's a true assessment right there. I definitely give you that. It didn't help that he had the number 20. What was it? 27 he had?
Yeah, 27.
Did he have the unlucky 27? Yeah, he had
the unlucky 27.
Don't help that at the situation at all.
Newy, your turn.
Well, I mean, I can't assess it the way you guys do because you're out there. I'm just watching. You guys, so I'm not out there in a practice, getting routed up or anything. So you guys are out there doing it and seeing it. So that's why my opinion on this really doesn't count because I don't know.
Check him out, Church.
That's why I went
Check him out, Church. Hold on.
You guys.
He's an Emmy Award winner for a reason, man.
Newy, you out there giving us all the updates with no pads on right now. You're going to give us the updates of the guys and how they look different when the pads come on. No. I don't want to hear that. You've been covering football for too long to duck and dodge that question because I know when you sitting out with your buddies, you've had these conversations like, man, I sure thought that guy was going to be something else. Too bad.
Okay. All right, I'll give you a guy. And this was before your time. Danny Amendola. Danny Amendola came out of Texas Tech, and he was just lighting it up. And then they had him on Hard Knocks, and I mean, the guy caught everything. First preseason game in San Diego, guys fumbling, can't catch anything. Had a bad camp, and he's what I call an all Oxnard guy. And I used to go in San Antonio, I used to call them all Alamo Dome guys. But these guys ended up looking good, but when it came time, the preseason games, they couldn't do anything. And I'm honestly very surprised that Danny Amendola had the career he did, winning the Super Bowls he did, because when he was here with the Cowboys, this was a guy who looked good in the underwear Olympics, but when the lights came on, he was just underwhelming all the way.
This is true. Remind me of Teddy. You remember Teddy Williams? He was the same way.
Oh yeah,
Teddy. See, Teddy,
kid from San Antonio.
Teddy was different though. Teddy had to play. He had to play football. I think since high school or something. He was really fast. Dave Camp on them took a chance on him. Danny Amendola, actually, I got to give him some love because he is a Houston, Texas product. His dad coached me in high school, and he actually did end up having a good career. But I know what you're saying about the Cowboys, his stint with the Cowboys. It did not look like his stint that he had with the Patriots.
No, not at all. Not even with the Rams. He had a better stint with the Rams. So he went from the Cowboys to the Eagles, finally got his legs underneath him with the Rams, and then, of course, went to the Patriots and helped win some Super Bowls. And then last year he was up there in Detroit in that failed Matt Patricia effort that they had up there. But that was one of the guys that I clearly remember that he could not get it done. And he said we used to have the media joke all the time about the all Oxnard team and the all Alamo Dome team, where they look good there. You put them out there in the preseason games when it mattered. And these guys could not. A lot of guys couldn't get it, especially the kickers and punters. That was the other thing too. I've seen a lot of specialists through the years look good out here. And then when it came, when the lights came, Barry Switzer, you say, "Can you do it when the band is playing?" Because Barry was like, "Hey man, these guys look good right here. We're practicing in Norman. There's nobody around. All of a sudden we fill up the seats and the band is playing, and these guys can't get it done." So tomorrow for me, when the pads come on, I'm going to be looking at the D-line. I want to see what Carlos Watkins and what Nevin Gallimore are going to be able to do, because we can talk all day long about this defense being top 10. If they can't stop the run, there's a problem. And for me, I'm going to be looking at that. What's Terrell Basham going to do? I already see some really nice things from Randy Gregory, but I need to look and see that interior. What are these guys going to do there? Because they have got to stop the run to be good. You start to look at the kind of running backs and teams they play this year. I mean, right out the gate, you start with Leonard Fournette in Tampa Bay. If Leonard Fournette ends up, taking care of his COVID thing, you've got to establish yourself a lot better than being a 31st run defense in the National Football League. So that's what I want to see. Ezekiel Elliott does look good. This offensive line seems like it's healthy. So it's an excellent opportunity to see exactly what this D-line can do when these pads start popping tomorrow. I'll be looking forward to seeing that.
And in all reality, that's where you're going to get your most bang for your buck, is watching that D-line, offensive line go at it once the pads gets on. Because, as a secondary player, even in the second, in the linebacking core, once that running back breaks through for the first, maybe 8 yards, if you're not there, you're kind of just tagging him off. Whereas that offense and that defensive line, they're banging. They're really banging like it's a game. They got their one-on-ones going on. You got inside runs. So it'll be a good opportunity to gauge the level of talent we have on that defensive line versus that great offensive line that we have.
Yeah, but you know what I'm looking forward to the most? Seeing the health of the offensive line. I need to see those two tackles be able to get out there, go against Randy Gregory, go against Tank Lawrence, go against Neville Gallimore, whoever they're going against, and see if they're able to hold up. Because you remember LC didn't even do training camp last year, so I need to see him be able to get out there. And same thing with Tyron Smith. You say he looks like the old 2011 Tyron Smith.
You ain't see that picture?
I want to see the 2011 Tyron Smith with pads on, him getting them paws on you and not letting you go nowhere. I want to see that guy. So, Newy, I'll be looking forward to you telling me how he looks tomorrow.
So Tank has been working out on the side, so I don't anticipate Tank being involved at all tomorrow when the pads hit. And I'm going to be also very interested, you bring that up, and we'll ask McCarthy tomorrow at his press conference, how much work are you going to give guys like Collins and Smith, because they've limited LC a little bit out here and put a lot of guys in working that right tackle spot. But I sat down with him one-on-one, and he told me he feels good. He's excited. He feels like he felt guilty last year, letting the team down, by not playing. LC's in great shape out here doing interviews with his shirt off like Tyron. I mean, these guys don't look like they don't look like the old 1990s offensive linemen that the Cowboys had that won Super Bowls. I mean, these guys are cut. So I am going to be eager to see exactly how much work they give some of these guys who are coming back off injuries and if they limit them at all. But I just can't tell you how excited I am to see the offensive and defensive lines be able to hit each other. I think this is where football is won, and it's where the Cowboys, in my opinion, can have their biggest improvement as a team. If they can be better on both sides of these lines, then they can erase 6 and 10 pretty quick. But if they have injuries, if they can't get better and they're not able to do what they need to do up front, it's going to be a problem. And if you're a fantasy football player here, I'm telling you right now, Ezekiel Elliott is somebody you need to go ahead and seriously think about putting on your roster, because I expect this young man to have a really nice year, especially if the offensive linemen are healthy. I think Zeke can have a real nice year. I've seen the screen game here. I'm like shaking my head. Wow. Okay, where's this been? So Kellen Moore's been working on trying to find ways to get Zeke the ball. He caught one pass down the seam. There was a doggone touchdown. I said, I'm looking at this kid that he's not just talking about having a good season. We've seen him put the work in. We're watching it out here on the field. So when these pads fly tomorrow, if they get a couple holes open here, I'm really eager to see what he can do. And at the same time, on the other side, is Lake Vander Esch, is Jalen Smith, are they ready to come up here and meet him in the hole? This is going to be fun, man.
Real quick, Newy, do you feel as though do you still believe that this defense can only go as far as DeMarcus Lawrence can take it, or do you think we've added enough talent, we got enough depth on this defense to where even if he doesn't perform to where he has in the past, getting double-digit sacks, being all over the field, we can still field a solid defense overall?
Look, you know how I feel. You sign a $20 million contract, you need to bring some results with it. And for the past 2 seasons, DeMarcus Lawrence has not played up to the player who got the $20 million contract, so he needs to respond. Randy Gregory looks good out here. Randy Gregory feels good, and you guys have played this game at a high level, and when you're in the right frame of mind and you're feeling good, you can do some things. I mean, there's some times, man, they tried to run some reverses here, and Randy Gregory's like, yeah, no. So if Randy Gregory can be a dominant player and Tank Lawrence can return to what he's doing, that's a help. I'm gonna keep saying this and hammer it home all day long. These defensive tackles have to be better. They have to be able to stop the run. If they're able to stop the run, and your 2 defensive ends live up to what we think they can be, they'll be an improved defense. But you just can't have the Cleveland Browns running 300 yards on you. You can't sit up here and have all these guys setting career highs and season highs against you like they were last year running the football. It has to start up front for the Dallas Cowboys defensively. And if the front is working, then the back is going to be a lot improved, and they're not going to have as much pressure on them. But they've got to fix this. They've got to fix the D-line. It's not sexy to talk about. People want to talk about the fantasy football guys, but this defense last year was so bad. And I think Dan Quinn already, just talking to guys are buying into Dan Quinn. And I've been skeptical. You know me. I think I should be skeptical because last week I was lied to last year. So I need to see how Dan Quinn improves. Dan Quinn said he's not running that same Atlanta defense because, look, let's be honest, man. What like these Atlanta defenses were these great defenses like, there was no Legion of Boom at all in ATL. So let's see how he uses his pieces. And I love the fact that they're going to bring in a guy like Hooker to say, hey, look, we're not exactly where we want to be. Let's figure out how we get there. Let's bring in another player. So I'm all about what I'm seeing so far. Dan Quinn is a guy who talks a good game right now. He seems like a guy that you'd want to buy in. But it's just talk. I got to see it. So when the pads start popping tomorrow, we get to see a little bit of it.
Are you getting closer to believing that they getting in that top 10 area on defense?
No.
There's no way.
No, because I have not seen the D-line work yet. So you know how I feel, Danny. You 31st against the run. Until that's fixed, until I see some guys, then last year they ran out Dontari Poe and Tristan Hill. Let's see if Gallimore, who started games last year, let's see if Carlos, let's see what they do up front. Also, Diggy Wuza from UCLA, he's made some nice plays. Let's see how this D-line is working and how Dan Quinn is able to get that rolling. He spends a lot of time with the D-line when you watch the practices here. And that's where he cut his teeth, and I love to see that. I got to see improvement right there. And until I do, you can't talk about top 10 D. You can't go from 31st against the run and just say, hey, man, I think they're going to be a top 10. I got to see it. Bill Parcells should have a great line. All I can go by is what I see.
Okay, tell me this. What do you see in the secondary? Because the secondary is less dependent on what you see once they have pads on and more of what you see when they get in 7-on-7 and when they do pass skelly, play action pass, and all that stuff. What do you see from the back end of the defense that would either say, hey, man, I think we're better, or we got a lot of growing to do?
I love what I've seen from Diggs. I like the way he wants to compete, that he's not afraid to get out there to talk and just, hey, I'm ready. So I like that about him. I asked Dan Quinn at the press conference, I said, Dan, your last year there in Atlanta, you used a first-round pick on a corner, took A.J. Terrell out of Clips. I said, why'd you pass on Diggs, and have you spoken to him about that? And then I asked Diggs, I said, did you talk to Dan about him not taking? He's like, no, I haven't, but I want to. He said, I want to ask him about that. He said, watching Diggs compete, he's into that. That's one of Dan's big things. So he loves the way he competes. And he also just said, it's one of those things as a coach, it's just different when you see a guy out here. So he's gotten to see him, every day versus just kind of looking at film and watching workouts. And he's impressed by what he is doing there. So Diggs is going to be a good player. And I know I said it before. I'm going to say it again. Here's the second contract guy. I think this is the second contract guy, and the way he spends his offseason working on getting better, working with his brother, who's an all-pro receiver, Stephon Diggs with the Bills. He talked about how he had his hands on 14 balls last year. He's like, man, I only got 3 picks. That's not good enough. I need to be better at it. So I love his competitiveness. I think Anthony Brown is trying to make people remember that, hey, I'm not chopped liver out here. I'm trying to compete for a spot. Boss man Fat's got a little bit of work to do, but that's okay. Deshaun Wright, let's see what he does when the pads come on. He's been impressive so far. I like what I see, but let's see what happens when the pads come on. And the same thing for Boss Man Fat, who they took in the second round at the corner position. So, once again, when the pads be on, it's going to be real interesting. Malik Turner, number 17, wide receiver for the Cowboys from Illinois. He's made some nice plays. But let's see how he does when you catch this ball and there's a lick put on you. Let's see how this goes here when the pads are there. So I'm very interested to see how a couple guys look. But I'll say this overall, Danny, I think you should feel good that the defense already looks better. Okay, they look better. They look like they have a clue that they what to do out here versus last year, where people were not buying into Mike Nolan at all.
And that's a good sign. That's a good sign because, it's not like our defense is going against, some ho-hum offense over there. I mean, we got, if we stay healthy, I think one of the top 10 offenses out there with all those receiving options, tight end, running back, what we got out there. So if they're performing well against our offense, now granted, like you said, there's no pads on. But if they're, performing well together and there's not a lot of busted plays out there, I mean, Danny, you could be on to something. I highly doubt it, but you could be on to something about this top 10.
I highly doubt it.
That's a hard jump. That's man. A lot. You're asking for a lot, man. You're asking for a lot.
No, listen. Let me tell you something. Y'all just stung because y'all drunk that Kool-Aid last year. I didn't drink it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm okay. That's fine. I'm okay because I was right last year, and I believe I'm gonna be right again this year. And y'all just scared to put your toe in because you already know you got burned one time, and that's fine. It's gonna take y'all a little time to get on board, but I'll hold a seat for y'all on this bandwagon.
Real quick, Newy, real quick, man. I seen some reports out there. How's my boy Double G doing out there? He looked like he was slanging the rock a little bit in that video you sent us. So has he been doing all right, or has nobody really noticed Double G out there?
I was trying to set it up. I told him I was going to.
I don't think the backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys is currently on the roster. I don't think Dak's backup is currently on the roster.
Wow. That's how they throw Gilbert, huh? All right.
I look at Garrett Gilbert as this is back in the day. It's a girl you guys went out on dates. You didn't call her your girlfriend. You guys had good times, that kind of thing. Because you were always looking for the upgrade. And that's how I look at Garrett Gilbert. Garrett Gilbert's a guy. They got him out here now. He's the dude. Cooper Rush, they're there. That's the guy. They're dating him. They feel good. We like you. He that. But if somebody else gets out there on the open market that McCarthy feels like is better, Will McClay gonna go in there and pull the trigger, and then hey, buy Double G, buy Cooper Rush. That's how I feel. I don't feel like these guys are sitting here like, ooh, yeah, this is the guy. DiNucci's gonna be on the team. Ben DiNucci's gonna be the guy.
My God.
But I do not feel as though Dak's backup is currently on this football team.
Fair enough.
That answer your question?
He
looks okay.
That answered it.
He looks okay. He looks fine. But I just don't think that's the. I think they're gonna be looking. They're gonna search the waiver.
Hopefully we don't have to know. Hopefully we don't have to see a backup in there. Hopefully my boy, Dak stays healthy throughout the year. But I think Gilbert could be a solid option.
Okay. Church, don't worry, Church. You're gonna get a lot of time to see Garrett Double G. Okay, you'll get a lot of time during this preseason to see Double G get some reps. So don't you worry. You'll know by the end of the preseason if he's ready or not.
Yes, he will have a chance to be the Hall of Fame game hero, no doubt about that when they play on August 5th. Let's squeeze in another break, and when we come back, how much should we see Dak Prescott in the preseason? Let's dive into that on the Players Lounge, brought to you by Hotels.com right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
At Smoothie King, we are blending goodness to fuel your greatness. Every blend is crafted to help you achieve your health and fitness goals. Smoothie King uses only whole fruits and organic veggies. You'll never find sugary syrups or artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. And unlike some other smoothie places, there are 0 grams of added sugar in many of our blends. Smoothie King is proud to be the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys. Place your order in the app or online for pickup or delivery. Smoothie King, rule the day.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Here we are, at least I am, in Oxnard, California with the Dallas Cowboys here on the Players Lounge. Danny McCray and Barry Church handling things back in hot Texas. Here it's about 66 degrees. Had to put on this little light shirt here underneath the little T-shirt and wear some shorts here. I'm feeling good though here at Oxnard, California. Fellas, I wish you were here. Wish I could have you guys go eat at the harbor with me at Andrew's Seafood and just chill, man. It's a good time to be out here.
Must be nice.
Just rub it in, huh?
Church.
Must be nice. I'm out here dying. It's hot as all heck down here.
Okay, first off, Church, you've been traveling all across this country, okay? So you can make some time to pack it on up and come on out here, because you over here at all sorts of spots, okay? So the fact you're not here, man,
I told y'all I told y'all, all y'all have to do is go to hotels.com. They'll get you right. They'll give you the lowest rooms possible. I mean, it makes traveling so much easier. Hotels.com, man. That's all you got to do.
Let me find the hotel you staying in on hotels.com. Then we'll see what we rolling with. All right.
I told you, all you got to do is go to hotels.com. They'll get you right.
All right, Dak Prescott, he will play in the preseason. He wants to play in the preseason. Mike McCarthy says, yes, he will. They would not give us any timetable about how much, how long, or when he would play. I don't anticipate him to be out there against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Hall of Fame game. So, Barry Church, Danny McCray, two former Dallas Cowboys safeties. How would you proceed in getting your quarterback some work coming off that devastating ankle injury as you get ready for the season and you've made him the highest paid player in the National Football League? Church.
Well, I think you get, even though I said, mini camp, I don't want anybody near him. I don't want people touching him. I think in the preseason, you got to get him at least three series. I mean, if that's, one in the second game and then, two in that third warm-up game that they always say the starters play the first half, you got to get him at least 3 series just to get him out there acclimated to a live rush. Guys coming at him, hands flying all over the place. I mean, they're not going to veer away, from the quarterback like they do in practice. They're going to come at you full force. So for me, I think you got to get him ready for that, because once the regular season jumps around, you don't want him to be, jittery in game one. You don't want him to have the yips in game one where, oh man, this guy was close to my ankle. I don't know what I should do. Should I just go down? So to me, I think you got to get all of that out in the preseason. If he's out there getting lit up, take him out immediately. But I think you got to get him at least 3 series just to get him acclimated to it, get him back in, in the motion of things, throwing it to those wide receivers, throwing it to those tight ends we got. So we'll see what they do, but I say 3 series.
Yeah, I'm with you, Church, but I wouldn't even spread it out over 2 games. I would give them 3 series in 1 game. And in those 3 series, the smartest thing you can do is run, pass. Like run, quick slant. Run, screen, quick slant, and then run, and get them out of there. Just to get them a feel for something, get them 2 or 3 throws, get your screen game going so you don't risk him taking any unnecessary punishment. Save him for the season, because we've seen exactly what happens when you don't have him for the season. And when Romo went down, we were lucky to have Dak Prescott. This time, Newy says the backup quarterback is not even on the roster, so I don't even think it's worth it to risk it. Get him in there, make sure nobody's around him, get the ball out of his hands quick, get him to the sideline, and get him ready for Tampa.
And that's only if that whole offensive line is ready and right there. Now, if any of those guys, for some crazy reason, aren't playing or they got injured during camp or something like that, I wouldn't risk putting him out there. The only way I'm putting him out there is if he got that full, healthy offensive line there, just because I ain't trying to risk nothing crazy happening. But, but they, like you said, D-Man, they got to get him a couple plays in there during this preseason.
So a question I'm going to ask Mike McCarthy later on is, Mike, what is your football team? Is it a running team or a passing team? Which is it? And I had a little debate with Calvin Watkins of the Dallas Morning News. And Calvin's like, hey, man, you paid Dak all this money. You go out there, you throw the ball. And I said, man, dude's coming off an ankles injury. And I said, why not take 21, who looks good, and really run the football? You got a 17-game season here. There's going to be time enough to get Dak going. I said, but man, I want to run the football and protect Dak Prescott and also protect my defense by chewing up the clock. So, in your opinion, guys, what kind of football team should the Cowboys be offensively, especially these first 4 games to start the season? McCray?
You know me. Listen. The best Cowboys teams that I've seen or been around were run-first teams, all right? We had the most dominant, nasty offensive line. We would move the line of scrimmage. Boom. First down, 3 yards. Second down, 4 yards. Everything was third and short. So it was easy for Dak to make those completions, easy for Romo to make those completions, control the clock, and move down the field. I think when you get behind the sticks and you're incomplete pass on first down, incomplete pass on second down, then you run into these issues that we've been seeing over the last couple of years. So dominate the offensive line, dominate the line of scrimmage, and then work the offense off of that.
All right, I got some breaking news here. Let me get you this breaking news. Just got this from Joe Trahan, the outstanding PR man for the Dallas Cowboys. Mitch Hyatt is going to injured reserve. Malik Hooker is officially signed. He will wear number 28. So number 28 on your roster is going to be Malik Hooker at defensive backfield, and Mitch Hyatt is going to the tackle. Mitch Hyatt is going to the injured reserve. So there you go.
Well, hey, in the spirit of competition, here we go. I mean, KZ, now it's official. Now it's official. Hooker's going to be back there, and I assume they're going to be battling out with him and KZ because, I feel like, Wilson, I don't think he's what were we calling them earlier? Unicorns, or they don't got he won't have his position taken. But between those two at that whole safety, that should be a great competition between both of them, and it's official now. I mean, you got to put KZ on waiver now. It's going to be official to see what happens for the rest of this camp.
I don't think you're not going to put KZ on waivers. I mean,
it was a bad term. I meant not waiver, but you got to put him on alert. I meant put him on alert, not waiver. Just put him on alert.
He's on alert.
Right. Yeah. There's a bunch of them on alert. Okay. There's a bunch of them on alert, but I think this is the positive. First off, you got KZ and Hooker both coming off Achilles, so we've got to see how both of these guys respond. But the opportunity is there. Put it like this. This feels so much better than last year, what we saw with Ha-Ha Clinton Diggs. All right, we've got guys, we've got opportunities, and we've got to see exactly what people can do. So that's it. To me, this is exactly what you want with a defense that had so many issues last year. Hey, fellas, it's throwing chum in the water, and let's see who goes and gets it. Let's see who's going to go ahead and get out there and prove and show what they can do. By the way, Hooker's got a mask on. He's kind of off to the side, and so very little participation and no helmet. So just want to make sure I put that out there as well. But Hooker's out here, baby. He's out here.
And you got to believe, KZ kind of has the leg up in this competition, at least early on, because he's been under Quinn, he's been under that system. I mean, I know he said he's not going to bring that specific Atlanta defense here to the Dallas Cowboys, but he's got to put in some type of traits, some type of principles of his defense back here with the Cowboys, and I got to believe KZ knows about those as well. So I think he has a leg up early on. We'll see how Hooker can battle back in this one.
Now it's church, because I want to know if he thinks he should be a running team or a passing team. Yeah,
we're gonna go back. Okay, look, I'm with y'all 100%. I'm with y'all 100%. I think we should be, a running team. As we've seen in the past, when our defenses had their most success was when, Ezekiel Elliott or DeMarco Murray, they were pounding that rock, and they were letting the defense get a big break in as far as time is concerned. And we go out there, we get a takeaway and give it right back to them. So we ate up that time of possession. It helped our defense out, and I think that's when we get the best and our most potential from our offense. But if y'all think Jerry Jones made Dak Prescott the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League history, to watch him turn around and hand the ball off to Ezekiel Elliott, you're crazy. And then we also got an offensive coordinator who thinks it's Madden out here, who loves to throw the ball, even on 4th and 1, loves to throw the ball. So if y'all think we're about to go around and turn around and hand this ball off to Ezekiel Elliott, you're crazy. It should be a running team, but he's going to be throwing that ball all over the yard. I can assume 40 to 50 times a game.
Listen, it's possible, Church. I mean, you gave Amari Cooper $100 million and let him run slants all day. So I mean, you never know. You never know.
We are going to be a throw. We're going to be coming back on here like, man, what? We'll get the dub. We'll get the win. But it's going to be tighter than it needed to be. And I don't think Zeke's going to get the touches that he thinks he's going to receive.
Now, Church, I want to also go back and preference what I said. I'm talking about this first 4 games, okay? Basically, the first month of the year.
Oh, okay.
I
thought you were talking about the whole season. Okay.
Yeah, in a 17-game season. I'm thinking, okay, look, let's just kind of ease this thing in here with Dak, that we're keeping him at 30 throws and under in a football game, and really trying to utilize what you have with Ezekiel Elliott, with Tony Pollard, and even what you touched on, Danny, in terms of preseason action. Hey, how can we get the ball out here quicker? How can we figure out a way to help our quarterback and keep him as clean as possible? We've already seen how guys can't get through 16 games in this league. So many quarterbacks are having issues here. I want to do, at least in my opinion, coming out here facing a team like Tampa Bay. Then next up, you got to come out here back to LA, and you got to face the Chargers. You're going to face some quality defenses out of the gate. To me, turn this thing around, hand it to 21, or utilize the screen game with 21 and 20. and really just try to keep Dak's throws under. When you start talking about 40, 50 times a game, that's more and more opportunities for guys to get back here and hit 4. I need 4 healthy, especially toward the end. We talked about how tough the Cowboys' schedule is at the back end with a whole bunch of these NFC East games. That's what I'm trying to get to if I'm Mike McCarthy right now is, hey, let's pace this thing. It's a long marathon. We're going to have a lot of games. And what is it, maybe 9 games in a row after the bye that they're at? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking long term about trying to save number 4 and have him, playing at a premium level at the back end of the season.
Y'all, let me tell you something. If Dak Prescott out there throwing the ball 40 times a game, we are losing. We headed for 6-11. I'm just telling you, if you have to throw the ball 40 times per game, 40 to 50, and we seeing that game in and game out, one, our defense they're not playing the way that they should play, and we are having to take too many risks to try to get us to win the football game. So if you see those numbers, you can guarantee that we are probably not first in the NFC East and not in the Super Bowl running.
And I'm with y'all on that. I'm with y'all. I think, we need to turn around, hand this ball off to Zeke, maybe limit the throws to maybe 20 to 25 to maybe even 30 a game, if that. But I just don't. I got to see it. I got to see it to believe it. We've seen it happen last year when McCarthy said, oh, yeah, we're going to be handing this thing off to Zeke. This is going to be a run team. And look what we did. Even before Dak got hurt, we were throwing the ball all over the yard. So I got, like Newy says, I got to see it to believe it. Hopefully we go the running route, but we'll see. We will see.
It depends on the health of the O-line. I'll go there because, like you said, at the beginning of the season, we weren't healthy enough to be running the ball like we should have. We weren't moving the line of scrimmage, and then we also had Zeke out there fumbling, almost every time he touched the ball. So hopefully this year is different. We have a full, healthy offensive line, and they're able to move that line of scrimmage and create some gaps for Zeke so we can keep handing it to him. Because I think the minute you see him get a 1-yard gain or a 2-yard gain is when they start going straight to the pass.
Yes. You guys, we were kind of touching on this in our break a little bit here. The Olympics today. I haven't had an opportunity to pay a whole lot of attention to it because I'm out here, but I did get that early morning alert on my phone about Simone Biles, who decided to exit the team competition, and Team USA ended up getting a silver. Russia won it. And it was not an injury for Simone Biles. She came out, she said, quote, physically, I feel good. Emotionally, it varies on the time and moments. Coming to the Olympics and being such a star isn't an easy feat. Wow. Simone Biles letting you know that her mental health has been something that she's got to look at here. What is your opinion? Because you guys are former athletes and you've played with guys who are, expected to carry load here. What is that like when all of the expectations are on you to perform and be a star? The people have wanted her to be the star of the 2021 Tokyo Games. Your thoughts? Church, start.
Oh, well, I mean, I was never at the level she was as far as stardom. And so I can only imagine, the type of pressure and the weight that was on her shoulders. I mean, coming into this Olympics, that's all you heard. And it was postponed a year. This was supposed to happen last year, and she was supposed to, get all this recognition. But then we come around one more year, and it's just built up even more. I mean, you got basically the whole United States, gymnastics back, or just a gymnastics team, and everybody putting their weight on you to perform. And it's got to be immense. It's got to have immense pressure to it, and you add it on, it's the Olympics. So it's not just the American audience watching. It's the whole world watching you perform and wanting you to be the it woman, the it child just out there in front of everybody. So it has to have immense pressure on her, and I can only imagine what was going through her mind, performing and while waiting to get on that last stage. So it's tough. It's got to be tough.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit extreme for the young female athletes like Osaka and Simone Biles in the sense that they aren't expected to just win. They are pretty much expected to be perfect every time they step out there, right? So I'm watching Simone Biles out there and I'm saying, oh yeah, she took an extra step here, extra step there. Oh, she's not performing as well, but then you see her score and her score is still above everybody else's. It's just the expectation that we put on these young ladies, and it gets to them too because they want to perform up to that high level as well. And when they don't, or when they make a mistake, I think they feel the weight of the world coming down on them. So I just can't imagine how intense those emotions are and how they feel, going through this process. But I'm definitely praying for them and hoping that Simone Biles gets it right and she can come back and perform up to the ability that she sees herself doing this season.
Simone Biles lives out in the Houston, Texas area. I was lucky enough to take my family, my 3 girls and my wife. We went to go see her and at Dickies Arena, Fort Worth, where they had USA Gymnastics had the national championships. And I said to my second child, and I just remember these words clearly now. I said, it's amazing to watch her perform, and all these eyes are looking exactly at her, and she's expected to win every time. Whether she's winning the beam, whether she's winning the vault, the floors, that's hard. That you're expected to be number one each time. I don't know how she does it. And now that she's gotten to the Olympics, and you see that it's weighing on her, I understand it 100%. And I hope people out there on social media are understanding of this is a woman who's been carrying this for a long time, and what it is like to be in her shoes, to be in Michael Phelps' shoes, where NBC and the world are expecting you to be the star. And when you don't get anything less than a gold medal, it's considered a disappointment. I can't imagine having that type of pressure. It's almost like the Tiger Woods, when Tiger Woods was golfing and we were watching him. Hey man, we're expecting Tiger to win. Even though we know it's hard to win every week, but we expect that. We put that kind of pressure on the athlete, and that's a challenge here. So hopefully Simone can get what she needs to feel good and finish these Olympic Games and get a couple gold medals.
I'll tell you who should be mentoring them and who has the most advice and experience from those situations is Serena Williams, because she went through that and still is going through that. Well, I still expect Serena Williams to beat Osaka and get that next Grand Slam. Every time she walks out there, and she's been doing it for so long. She's went through her ups and downs, handling it, and I think she'll have some good advice for those two.
Very true.
Yeah, I tell you, I look at a guy like Tom Brady, the same thing. To be that good that long in any sport, it's hard, and I just can't imagine it. But I think Michael Phelps would be, if there was someone that Simone Biles could get on the phone with and talk about having to understand what it is to have to, in some ways, carry the games, to have the programming, network program all around you. That could be a phone call that could help. And I remember Michael Phelps talking about his own challenges mentally to live up to that, and Ray Lewis had helped him. So I just hope someone can get there to Simone Biles and just help her get through this process, because she's a tremendous athlete, and I just respect her greatness so much. And just to watch, fellas, I can't tell you what it is like to watch it in person and to see the whole arena, to see how everyone was fixated, because when they're performing, there's all sorts of exercise. Somebody's on the vault, somebody's doing the floor exercise, somebody's on the balance beam. But wherever Simone was, that was where the eyes were. And it was almost like we didn't even care about the other ladies out there on the floor. And the cheers were for her. I mean, somebody's coming off a great, balance beam. It's like, oh yeah, whatever. Where was Simone? We're watching the vault. That's a challenge. That is a challenge, and so I wish her well here. All right, we're over our time here, a minute over our time. We will get back on Thursday, and the pads will be popping, so it'll be the second padded practice when they get after it on Thursday. So we'll have some more things to talk about as we dive heavily into the offensive and defensive lines, because I think that's where the Dallas Cowboys can improve this football team to go from 6-10 to a playoff team. All right, Three Amigo Negroes done for today. Barry Church, Danny McCray, I'm Newy Scruggs. This is the Players Lounge, brought to you by Hotels.com on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?